As we continue to cover President Biden's visit to Connecticut, we can report now that Air Force One is in view. You can see it right there on the left-hand side of your screen. Air Force One will be landing momentarily at Bradley International Airport. You are able to see right now as Air Force One is coming down for a landing, and Channel 3's Wendell Edwards is there. I want to get you up to date on what's going to be happening. President Biden will land first at Bradley International Airport, which will happen in just moments. Then the president will go to Brainerd Airport, where the motorcade will go from Brainerd to downtown Hartford, where President Biden will visit a child care center to speak and gain support for his Build Back Better program, which does include universal pre-K. And we're watching Air Force One just come in for a landing there. It's a beautiful day for flying. No weather problems here. It's at 12:21 right now at Bradley International Airport. This presidential visit should be going smoothly with regard to timing and weather, as it's a beautiful day here in Connecticut. This is the president's second visit to our state. Connecticut has become an example of some of what the president would like to do nationwide with universal pre-K, with vaccines, with infrastructure, as Governor Lant has also focused on transportation. And it looks like Air Force One just ducked behind that building there. Hopefully we'll be able to actually bring you a view of the landing as it makes its way down the runway. There we go, just above treetop now. Air Force One coming in for Bradley International Airport. Looks like it's going to be a smooth landing, and then it's off to the races as the president will make his way again to Hartford. And then later on this afternoon, he will go to the dedication of the Dodd Human Rights Center in Storrs. Of course, former Senator Chris Dodd, a very close friend of President Biden. And this is, imagine the chopper that's going to be taking President Biden from Air Force One. He will then go in the chopper to speed up the events and as to not have a motorcade going all the way from Hartford to Storrs on this busy presidential visit. I'd like to go now to Channel 3's Wendell Edwards as we see Air Force One taxi down the runway. Wendell, tell us the scene there.
Kara, the president just landed. You can see Air Force One as it is taxiing over to the runway on this part. It pretty much is on time. They had an estimated time of 12:25. I would say that he's a couple minutes early. We know that he's going to taxi over here, and then he will get off and then head to a helicopter that will then become Marine One when he lands there. Again, the atmosphere here has been very positive. We've been waiting, and we have updates too as well. We knew when he left D.C. We knew when he was about 10 or 15 minutes out. As you see right now, he is slowly but surely taxiing his way. The president is with a slew of people. Several dignitaries are riding with him too as well. And there were two helicopters that came before him that also had the entourage before the president, if you want to call it that. Air Force One too. Pretty large plane there as it taxis in. The Secret Service has been pretty much everywhere on this job, perhaps keeping the President of the United States as safe as possible. And I can tell you we are still in a pandemic, and there is some steps that the President, I believe, may have to come down, and I saw them wiping those steps down too, just to make sure that they are safe and clean. The President is wearing a mask, at least he was when he left Washington, D.C., as he boarded Marine One there, headed to Air Force One. I'm told that he ran up the stairs and waved. There was a question shouted, but he didn't answer it. Perhaps he couldn't hear it over the airplane noise. It is quite noisy here. They actually gave reporters here earplugs here because it can be quite loud. So if I sound like I'm yelling, it's because I think I'm trying to get my voice over the Air Force One. And look at it in its majesty. It's a very large plane carrying the President of the United States. Many here too standing in a salute to President Biden, the Commander-in-Chief. Kara, this is really exciting. It really is. It's one of those days when you love your job.
Absolutely, Wendell. You know, wherever anyone lands on the political spectrum, it is always exciting to see the majesty of Air Force One, to honor the office of the presidency, and always a big deal when a president comes to visit. And this is the second time that President Biden has visited our state. Governor Lamont, when President Biden beat Trump, said, hey, we have a friend in the White House, and that's a big deal. And Connecticut has really been at the forefront of a lot of what President Biden has said he wants to do with his Build Back Better program. And it could mean a lot of infrastructure projects right here for Connecticut, as also bringing those the free childcare and universal pre-K. These are all things that are being done on some scale here in Connecticut, but the president hoping to use Connecticut as an example and then build it bigger and better according to his agenda. It looks like, Wendell, I don't know if you have a bird's eye view there, but we'll be able to see when President Biden actually exits Air Force One, and then he'll make his way to Brainerd Airport to eventually make it to Stores. Looks like the jetway is pulling up right now.
Kara, can you hear me? He is. And there are the steps, as you can see. I am told that the president will not obviously take any questions here. It's really just all about transportation at this point. We're trying to keep him on a very tight agenda because he does have a very busy day, as you've heard, that we're covering. The president, again, will be here until this afternoon. There are the doors opening. They are moving.
Wendell, I'm just going to take it back from you because I know it's so loud where you are, and it's wonderful to be bringing our viewers this landing live as it happens at Bradley International Airport. But I want to make sure our viewers at home can hear what you're tuning into right now as Air Force One has just landed in Connecticut. President Biden will exit the aircraft and come down that jetway, and the greetings will begin. We know that he'll spend some time with Governor Lamont today, as well as other local leaders, and he'll eventually end up, after going to Hartford first, where he's expected to speak at a child care center about his initiative to bring affordable, high-quality child care and preschool to working families. He's saying if his plan goes through, that Connecticut families could save as much as almost $15,000 a year if they're a working family, where they wouldn't have to pay for child care or universal pre-K in some instances. That is part of the Build Back Better program that he is stumping for here in Connecticut, as we await for President Joe Biden to come down those stairs and then make his way off to Brainerd Airport, where he will then come to the capital city, then make his way to Stores in Yukon. Very, very busy day for President Biden on his second visit here. And I know a lot of folks are going to be thinking about the road closures. You want to keep in mind that right now is a good time to avoid going to the downtown Hartford area. Lots of road closures are in effect right now. We'll be going to Channel 3's Mike Savino a little bit later on, that he is stationed where this president is going to be speaking at the child care center, and the roads all around him have already been closed down. So if you have business to be doing in the capital city, you're going to want to avoid that area, especially around Asylum, certain areas of Capitol Avenue, Broad Street. Those roads are going to be closed down as security is already in place. And then you won't have to worry about highways shutting down, because it's our understanding that the president will take a chopper from downtown Hartford. He'll go back to Brainerd Airport and then take a chopper to Stores to make it there for his speech at the dedication of the Dodd Human Rights Center at Yukon. That's expected to happen around 4 o'clock. I want to take this opportunity to let you know that we are covering the president's visit and carrying President Biden's speeches live for you, not just on air here, but also on the Channel 3 streaming news app. So if you don't already have it, it's a great chance to download it. You can watch on your Roku, on your Apple TV, on your Amazon Fire. I'm going to be staying with you. Our reporters are stationed across the state. We will be bringing you live coverage of the presidential visit to Connecticut on the streaming news app. So when this program ends and we return you to regular programming, you'll be able to keep up with all of the interviews. We are expected to speak with Governor Lamont as well as Senator Dodd and other dignitaries. Our reporters are stationed along the president's route today, so we can keep you informed of all of the angles of this presidential visit today. Again, we've said this is the second visit as President Biden brings his Build Back Better agenda. It's an ambitious plan to create jobs, cut taxes, and lower costs for working families, according to the president. He says it will be paid for by making the tax code more fair and making the wealthiest and large corporations pay their share. I'm quoting right now from President Biden's information on his own website for the Build Back Better plan. He says under this plan, no middle-class family would have to pay more than 7% of the family's income for high-quality childcare up to age 5, and most working families would not pay anything, saving the average family, he says, almost $15,000 a year. Wendell, I know you've been there all morning long. I want to bring you in and set the scene for us. I imagine, obviously, there's the usual security. Who's there to greet the president right now, if you can see?
Kara, it seems to be some of the higher-ups, I guess you can see in the military here at the Connecticut Air National Guard, which is where we are, right next to Bradley International Airport. We're in East Granby, obviously, but it seems to be a lot of the dignitaries here, too, the generals and the sergeants and the staff sergeants, many of them standing at formation waiting for the commander-in-chief to come down the stairs as well. The atmosphere is just electric. It really is. It's a special day, unique day here. When we were escorted here, I was able to talk to one of the staff sergeants who was pretty excited himself, too. He had his camera, too. There was a time that he was going to be able to get photographic evidence of being here to help make sure the president lands safely and is getting to his destination. We know this is just going to be very quick. He's going to come down these stairs, then he's going to run over to that United States of America helicopter that will then become Marine One when he gets on. So this is really all about the transition too, but it is an entry. The President of the United States landing here in Connecticut for his agenda today and his appointments that he has, as we have mentioned, and we're going to be covering extensively too. The weather has cooperated wonderfully too. It's another beautiful fall day in Connecticut. I can't imagine a better day for the president to come. In fact, I would say it's a little warm, which I don't think I would ever say of Connecticut, but there you go. We are still waiting for the president to come and bound down these stairs, and I'm told that he is in a blue suit and that he has a black mask and that he is going to, again, just jog ever so graciously over to that helicopter that then will become Marine One as soon as he's aboard and will take him to his next destination. Here, there's a slew of press here, too, as you can imagine, in media, as well as the press pool that rode with the president. There's always a corps of journalists that ride in the back of, well, I'm not sure what part, but I know they are on Air Force One with him, and I can see them getting off the plane, and they also have been screened and secured by Secret Service. In fact, when they got off the plane again, I was just noticing that they had to be screened and rescreened again. It's all about security. I mean, you really understand when a dignitary, a president of the United States, or any dignitary of this level, whether for another country, lands, there is an intense amount of scrutiny. Many of us here, all of us here, had to be screened before we got here too as well. And it is somewhat of a hurry up and wait situation. We've been here since around 10:30 this morning because you have to get in place in order to get this arrival as well. The large group of people with the president will be traveling with him throughout the day. He has a lot on his plate here, but again, he's here to promote that Build Back America, or Build Back agenda. I always want to put America in there because it sounds like what it is. It sounds like Build Back America agenda, but that's exactly what it is. Some calling it an ambitious agenda, but he's certainly here with some of the people in his corner who are trying to get his message out right now. Again, Kara, we are waiting for the President of the United States to come down those stairs. I feel like it could be at any minute right now. He left Washington around 11:17 this morning. He landed here at 12:23 when I checked my phone, and the Air Force One taxied to this point. There were, oh, well, here he comes. There's the President of the United States in his blue suit.
Yes.
And light blue tie.
Thank you, Wendell. Yes, we're watching.
Mask.
You have a great view. We're watching President Biden come down the stairs as he exits Air Force One and begins a very busy day here in Connecticut. As customary, starting with a salute, he's removing his mask to meet the military dignitaries. We know from here President Biden will go to Hartford, where he's going to stump for his Build Back Better agenda. And that will include bringing more affordable childcare, in some cases free childcare and universal pre-K to many families in America. That is right now as he steps off. It will be his second visit to our state. And of course, former education commissioner here in Connecticut, Miguel Cardona, is now a member of his cabinet governing education for all of America. So Connecticut is really featured prominently in President Biden's plans. He is now making it to the chopper, which, as Wendell said correctly, will become Marine One as the president gets onto that chopper to then go to Brainerd Airport, and then a little bit of planes, trains, and automobiles. President Biden will step into a vehicle, and a motorcade will bring him to downtown Hartford. You are watching our live coverage of President Joe Biden's visit to Connecticut. He has now left Air Force One and is entering the chopper of Marine One to begin his day that will begin in downtown Hartford and then end with a speech at the dedication of the Dodd Center for Human Rights at the University of Connecticut in Storrs. We will continue to cover the president's visit, and you'll get to see Marine One take off here. It'll be a busy day with Governor Lamont is expected to be with the president, as well as Senator Dodd, who's been a longtime best friend. They've worked together for many, many years when they both were in Congress together. We will get to see President Biden be there for his dear old friend, former Senator Chris Dodd, who is very excited about UConn doing this for his family, where the Dodd Center of Human Rights will help future generations learn about human rights and also learn about some of Senator Dodd's legacy. As you know, he was key and critical to giving America the FMLA Act. So as you continue to watch here on TV, I want to let you know we will also be streaming the presidential visit on the Eyewitness News streaming app. We're going to continue to stay on the air and bring you all of the facets from our reporters who are stationed at every leg of the president's trip. We're about to watch Marine One take off. I think it's kind of amazing just to watch how the logistics of this, as the president landed in Air Force One, where we know there's a full office aboard. Everything he would need to conduct business is on board Air Force One. And then in order to meet this demanding schedule, the president will board Marine One, which is the chopper, and head straight to Brainerd Airport, where the motorcade will be waiting to bring him to this child care center where Mike Savino is in downtown Hartford. And we'll hear a little bit more about how he plans to provide free universal pre-K and child care, not only to Connecticut, but all over America as part of the Build Back Better agenda. And let's watch here as Marine One is about to take off from Bradley International Airport. You can only imagine all of the screening and the security that's already been done to make this possible. It looks seamless. It looks easy as the president just hops off and hops on. But we know Secret Service has been working for the past 24 to 48 hours at least. Everyone near these planes and choppers has had to be screened. There's also been, I know anyone who is going to be meeting on the president's path today had to have be vaccinated and have a COVID test. So as we have coordinated a presidential visit in the middle of a pandemic, also a little extra complication. But the president has been pleased with how Connecticut has handled the pandemic, how we've used the pandemic funds for childcare to keep childcare going. Connecticut was considered a model so that families could go back to work, and many childcare centers were open because of a $300 million grant of funds from the federal government. You're watching Marine One take off now from Bradley International Airport, where the press has been there all morning long waiting for Air Force One to land and now for Marine One to take President Biden to downtown Hartford. It's a good day for flying. Often when we cover these presidential visits, sometimes they're quite delayed, especially if a chopper is involved because of the safety and weather. We don't have that issue today. As Wendell said, there's a lot of excitement at Bradley International Airport where people are feeling the energy of a president visiting our state, but also the beauty of a gorgeous October day. We're very lucky that we've had some great weather, and that's expected to continue throughout the president's visit today. So all systems a go for a clean takeoff here of Marine One as it makes its way down the runway at Bradley International Airport, off to another airport, Brainerd Airport in Hartford, where a lot of smaller private planes land, and that is where the motorcade will be waiting to take President Biden to his speech in downtown Hartford. Just a reminder, if you're just joining us, you do want to avoid the area of downtown Hartford. The president will be arriving at that child care center within the next probably 30 minutes, maybe even less, as he's a little bit behind schedule because the takeoff from Washington, D.C. was a little bit later than planned. Air Force One took off about 11:14. I'm told it takes about an hour and a half to make it to here to Connecticut, and now Marine One is in the air. I don't know if we'll be able to hear. It's always, I think, interesting to hear all the planes take off. As you're watching live at Air Force One, now you can hear Marine One taking off, and you can, when you're actually standing there, I'm sure it would be very difficult for Wendell to hear us or talk to us right now because it's so loud and many people are wearing their earplugs as these choppers take off. Looks like smooth flying, beautiful skies for the landing and for the takeoff of this presidential visit. Our coverage of the president's visit to our state continues right now on the Channel 3 streaming news app. For anyone who's watching on TV right now, you can rejoin the regular programming that's in progress. But if you'd like to join us on the Channel 3 streaming news app for Apple, Roku, Amazon Fire, you will be able to continue to watch the presidential visit. Once the president lands at Brainerd, we'll come back on to show you that part of his visit live as well.